grade high school students, and we're starting a unit on social issues, which I think is really important, especially in today, for students to find a voice in a lot of the issues that are happening in our current society. So I wrote all this stuff out. I don't know if we need it, but it's talking about this stuff helps students understand current issues and then how to respond to them appropriately and respectfully. It develops higher order thinking and gives students opportunity to build critical thinking skills. So previous to this in the class, we would work on how to be successful in this unit by validating and respecting each other, sharing opinions and feeling like your opinions are valued, et cetera, et cetera. So you create a safe environment for students to talk about these issues. So the three issues are racism, sexism, and social class, which you can see the vocab up there. And then for ELL students or students from different cultures or backgrounds that don't understand the issues in our country, I would print out a statistic sheet for them to help them understand them. So for our gateway activity, we're going to read through a bunch of quotes. You're going to need to take out a piece of paper, and you're going to write your initial first thought on the first thing that comes to mind, and be honest and write exactly what you think and exactly how you feel, knowing that these will be kept to yourself and no one will criticize you on them. So yeah, and then at the end of class, which we won't actually get to, we'll do I believe statements, which I'll explain later. But the statements at the end will help you account for what you believe in your journal entry. Okay, so the first one. These aren't just protests of hopeless, downtrodden black folk. These are protests born of expectation, of people who say, I moved up here to get away from this crap. It's the notion that no matter what you do, many African Americans still feel like they're denied the American dream. Racism, is a visceral experience that dislodges brains, blocks airways, rips muscle, extracts organs, cracks bones, breaks teeth. You must never look away from this. You must always remember that the sociology, the history, the economics, the graphs, the charts, the regressions all land with great violence upon the body. If I'm going too fast, let me know. Gender matters everywhere in the world, and I would like today to ask that we should begin to dream about the plan for a different world, a fairer world, a world of happier men and happier women who are truer to themselves. And this is how to start. We must raise our daughters differently. We must also raise our sons differently. While sexism hurts women intimately, it also damages men severely. People talk about hard work all the time in places like Middletown. You can walk through a town where 30% of young men work fewer than 20 hours a week and find not a single person aware of his own laziness. There is a cultural movement in the white working class to blame problems on society or the government, and that movement gains adherents by the day. Lastly, the upper class desire to remain so, the middle class wish to overthrow the upper class, and the lower class want a classless system. Okay, so relying on prior knowledge, did any of this not make sense, or was any of it confusing? Did you have a hard time finding something to write about, or did you have maybe really strong feelings about something? And remember, you're 11th graders, so you may not be as sophisticated as you are today. Yeah.
I think it was the second quote where it's talking about racism, being a visceral experience, and I thought that was really, really powerful because everyone, no matter what race, can identify or empathize with physical pain, and so a lot of times, like maybe a white person doesn't quite comprehend what racism is, but being able to feel it in that way is a lot more identifiable.
Anyone else?
Really.
Okay, so as a teacher, I want to get personal with my students and to some extent, and I would share that I grew up in Montana. We had 2 black kids in our whole high school, my graduating class of 500 to 600, and we all knew them as the black kids, couldn't identify with them at all. And then we had one girl that was half Chinese, but she was like a white girl. Like that's what we grouped her in as. So very, very white. And then I moved to Memphis, Tennessee when it was the #1 murder capital in the world, #1 sexual crime in the world, #1 robbery, like it was, or not in the world, in the United States, not in the world. And it was a huge cultural shock, and I hate to admit it because I became very prejudiced because everything I saw on TV was black men and black women, and they were complaining or breaking into stores, and we would hear gunshots on a regular basis. Every day after New Year's and the 4th of July, they would find multiple dead bodies because that's when the gunshots could be hidden the easiest from the fireworks. And it wasn't until I moved to Seattle that I realized how privileged I was. And so social issues are really important to me, especially in our current political state and what's happening. So I think it's important for us to find our voice in these political issues and to see people more than just what we may see on the news or see in a negative light because of the stories we're being told. And we need to use that privilege to help those have a voice that are voiceless. So I would continue to go on and show the clip, A Single Story, the dangers of a single story, and then have you guys go back, look at your notes, and see if maybe any of those quotes brought up thoughts that created a single story in your mind and how we can get away from that. And then throughout the unit, you would be doing an online journal that only I could read with the students about your thoughts and how they either change or become stronger, and how you feel about the different issues.
Thank you.